guys, in the last about 12 hours, I've had 3 or 4 people ask me about the BUSD crops farmer, and said it was something new and it was based off of baked beans, and it's actually not. Well, it kind of is. They're all. This is like a cousin of baked beans. So they all all these things basically forked off of the egg game, back, more than a year ago. And that's where all the eggs come up in the code. But I do kind of like this one because they're really kind of going in the right direction. I wish they wouldn't have went up on their development fee, but I like that they didn't go up to like 8 to 10%. They went up to 5%. Yeah, I think that 3% the baked beans does is kind of the sweet spot for dev fees. I think it's enough for marketing and paying the team, but isn't like taking from the contract. I think ones that go down to 1 or 2%, I love their intention of going low, and if they're doing it just to make a DApp that's sustainable, and they're not just in there just to make money only, then I do applaud them. It doesn't leave a lot for marketing, but maybe they're just playing their own DApp and looking to make money like everybody else on it. But I think that 3% is the sweet spot. This one is, everybody looks at it and says, it's brand new, it's very different. But I actually recognize this. It's right when the header came out, I'm like, ooh, I bet this is just like another DApp. And then I looked at the dashboard, I'm like, yep, it's just like another DApp that I've seen. And that is the Spacefield game. If you look at the dashboard, this has been out for, I think, months now, or a month or two. The buttons, it's, you approve, you deposit, there's sell, and there's compound. Same thing, approve, hire, same thing. Harvest, which is sell, and hire more, which is compound. It's got like a cart will be full in, bag will be full in, it's the same similar thing. So these things are based off of timers, and what I like is they force you to compound 5 times before you can sell. If you try to sell more than twice in a row, you're going to get hit by a 60% tax, which is, I think, great. I wish it would just totally not allow you to sell at all, but they're heading in the right direction with these. I do like the ones that are on BUSD stuff, because you're not tied into a price of a token that fluctuates. You can do kind of calculations based on what you've been earning, and kind of it removes the variable of uncertainty as you're doing calculations on what you might earn. I'm not going to go through this like totally fully, because they've got FAQs, they've got a whole description here, and I'm not one of those YouTubers that's just going to sit here and read the documentation to you, because you guys can get on these sites and you can read and you can figure out what they are. I'm just kind of bringing attention to it, and I don't know. Anyway, kind of cool. I like that it's not 12.5% or 13% referral bonus. That was brought down based off of baked beans, and they talk about this APR of 2,920%. You have to remember there's this little symbol there. It's more like about. You might get 8% daily. It's still based on market eggs and balance and things like that. So whenever these things say 8% daily, they're saying up to 8%. And I've actually seen people get more, 10%, things like that. Most of those are people that are getting referrals. So 8% is what you can expect if you get no referrals at all, and you're just kind of following the compounding. This thing, it kind of forces you. I've been in the Spacefield game for a while, and I understand how it works. Basically, this thing keeps compounding up to, let me recruit more, and I can tell you. I haven't recruited in a few days, and then what that does is it stops actually from doing any more compounding. So it forces you to get in here and either compound or sell. It gives you a choice, and that's, you have to interact with it at least every in this case it's 30 hours. But you go in here and it's the exact same thing. You compound every 12 hours. And then this one actually gives you bonuses if you keep recruiting more versus selling, so it entices you that way. This thing's going to be the same thing. You're going to have to compound every 12 hours, or you can go up to I can't remember how long it is. I think it's the same thing, like 30 hours, and then your bag is full. It's 48 hours. So you have to, there's a 4-hour withdraw count cooldown. You can compound every 12 hours. I wish they would have moved that to less, like 6 hours or something, so those that want to compound more can. But it is going in the right direction anyway. So yeah, basically the way this thing would work is, you put your BUSD in here, you'd approve it. It has to go through this approval because this is not the native token. Well, it is a native token on Binance, but it's not, the main token on the chain. So you have to approve it. And a lot of people might, let me connect my wallet so you can see this. You can hit approve BUSD, and you're approving whatever's in this thing here, blah blah. And this is giving permission to access your BUSD. Now you have to be careful with these when this thing says this. One, they have to do this if it's not the main token on the chain, like BNB, they wouldn't have to do this. But if it's another token on the chain, you have to give them access to that token for it to actually work. So you have to edit permission, and this approves up to 1,000 BUSD. And with that, basically the site has access to the BUSD in your wallet. So whenever you see these things, you have to be very careful, when it's asking for permission to access a coin or a spend limit. If it's not a trusted site, they could literally take whatever they want of that token from your wallet. Things like this where it's a farming dApp and they actually have a limit here, I'm not as concerned. It's when they basically say, we want infinite, they have a crazy number it's an exponent of basically like infinity amount of BUSD or whatever. So you have to be very careful of that. I'll just reject that for now. After you approve it, you put in how much here you want to deposit, and you hit hire however many, it'll show you how many farmers, this is kind of like beans or whatever they are, you hit that. And then as soon as that goes through, it starts compounding, and it'll show you, how much you deposited, how much in total you've deposited, and how much you've sold over time. So it's kind of nice that it keeps track of how much you've sold as you're in this. It'll also show you referral rewards, the crops. It will show you, how many farmers you're getting your crops, and it will, build up, and you can, harvest or whatever. And it shows you how many times you compounded, which is nice. So after 5 times, after another 12 hours, you could harvest your crops without that 60% tax. And then you can either do that or hire more, which is compounding. So that's kind of how it goes. So this one, you can't just let it sit for a long time. Every 48 hours, it will just stop compounding for you and sit there and wait for you to make an interaction with the contract. I don't know. For me, I'm always all about compounding, so I will compound as much as I can. And for this is like 12 hours, so I'd probably get up in the morning, compound, in the evening, hit compound again, and, just repeat that. They're saying, the ideal thing is to go off of, yeah, there's a whole thing. There's a recommended strategy, you know, compound 6 days, harvest 1 day a week. Yeah. So that's kind of what they're suggesting. That's what the BUSD crop farmer is. Let me show you the code behind the scenes here. We have BUSD crops on the right and space field, which is the one I showed you before. They did make quite a few changes at the top here, but as we go down, there's actually fewer and fewer changes. What I've seen is they lessen that compound bonus. You can see here, yeah, just change some variables to get up that to the 8% instead of, theirs was 3%. So obviously they're trying to get the same amount back as baked beans with the, you know, the space field code. So that's why they had to make all those changes. They added that withdraw tax, which these guys did this kind of the same thing. You know, they had a tax, but there was only 40% and you only had to compound twice. This one is 60% and you have to compound 5 times. Yeah, they changed some of the cutoff stuff. You know, obviously, you know, instead of 30 hours, it's 48 hours. And then the withdraw cooldown is 4 hours instead of 12. They added some dev fee junk. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, not crazy stuff. I mean, they removed some of these things that weren't really needed. Yeah, nothing too crazy. They kind of did a little bit of optimization, but also adding stuff for that tax stuff. But once we get down past this is all just difference in how they're doing calculations, you know, market eggs and stuff like that, which is actually defined above. And when you get down here, you can actually see there's fewer and fewer changes as we go down. Blah, blah. Yeah, here's where they actually initialize that market egg instead of above. And then down here, you know, it's actually the same stuff. You see this one here, that's kind of the main algorithm that, you know, everybody kind of goes off of. That's kind of the magic sauce line right there. But yeah, other than that, it's kind of the same stuff. It's not too much different. It's very similar. They had to change some of the stuff because these guys were based off of their own custom token, and this is based off of just BUSD. So they had to make some changes there. So yeah, it's basically the space field game on BUSD, and they're trying to, you know, kind of merge the two baked beans. You know, this is kind of the cousin of baked beans. They upped that daily, so you'd have 8% similar to baked beans. Lowered that referral, upped the marketing fee a little bit, forced compounding, or if you don't compound, you only get 40% of your withdrawal. Yeah, so that's kind of the crops farmer. I kind of like it because they're forcing that compounding, which I like. Which they would have brought that dev fee down a little bit, but I like that they brought the referral fee down a bit as well. So anyway, guys, yeah, you know, this might be worth a look. It's totally up to you. I'm not providing any financial advice. I'm not, you know, telling you what you should invest in. This is totally up to you. I'm just providing, hey, you know, this is available and this is kind of my view on it, and show you the code and explain things a bit. Anyway, guys, that is BUSD Crops Farmer. They say they're coming out with a BNB version. I don't know. I kind of like the BUSD stuff. It's much more stable in my view, but right now they're at 351,000 that's in the contract. Let's make sure that's actually in the contract, not total staked. Yeah, 353,000. Whenever they go off of a different token than, Binance Smart Chain, if they go off of a different token when you look at the contract, it's going to say 0 BNB because there is no BNB in here. It's all BUSD. So you have to go to the token, drop that down, and you can see how much BUSD is in the contract here. One thing I also like to see is, go here and see what people are doing. Just lots and lots of buys right now. So it looks like, it's kind of moving pretty well right now. So I don't know. I'm curious to see if this thing will hit 1 million BUSD. That would be great. I think that would show some momentum in it. Anyway, guys, that is the BUSD Crops Farmer. Leave any comments below about it. Go ahead and like or subscribe if you want to. You know the YouTube game. Anyway, we will catch you on the next one.